Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, depending on which corner of the world you are connecting to this webinar. I am Lydia Borrell-Demian. I'm Secretary General of Science Europe. It's an organization representing research funding and research performing organizations in Europe. And I am very pleased that the National Research Foundation of Ukraine is one of our members. And it's my absolute pleasure to present to you this first webinar out of a webinar series that we are planning with the colleagues at the National Research Foundation of Ukraine to support them in the reforms or updates or upgrades of the research and innovation system in Ukraine, and to help them building capacity to enhance their research and innovation characteristics. So this is the first of at least 3 that we have planned in the coming months. We start with a very timely subject at the top-down versus bottom-up calls. We will continue on the 25th of November with addressing the topic of monitoring. And we will further continue in February next year on open science policies. They are all organized same time frame for an easy kind of scheduling of all of you, and we hope that these conversations will be useful for you all. I'm sorry if you hear some noise in the background, but I am in an airport and not easy to cancel all noises around me. Anyway, this is just to say that we have prepared this first webinar with a lot of excitement. We hope that you will all take full advantage of the discussions we are going to hear and the presentations. We have put together a panel deluxe, I would say, with super knowledgeable people, lots of experience, and wishing to share their experience and contribute to the enhancement of research and innovation systems. I think I would keep it very short because the floor is on them and we need to hear them. And first of all, I would like to thank Laure for accepting to be the moderator of this session, also a person with lots of experience in the international cooperation. And also, of course, Olga Polotska for her friendship and efficiency and knowledge in organizing all these webinars. I think it's time for Olga to make her introductory words. So Olga, over to you.
Lydia, thank you so much. Well, and though you are on the move, you're with us, well, permanently. Okay, so, well, good morning. That's quite an early morning. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. So this is really my great pleasure to welcome you to the first webinar in the joint NRFU Science Europe webinar series, which is about building capacity in the Ukrainian RNI ecosystem. So on behalf of the National Research Foundation of Ukraine, I'd like to express my gratitude, first of all, to Science Europe for their leadership and unwavering support, and in particular to you, Lydia, and of course your team for your tremendous effort in organizing this webinar series for the NRFU and for the Ukrainian research community. Well, your commitment is deeply appreciated, and that's a very strong sign of solidarity with Ukraine. As you know, our country is going through extremely complicated times. The war continues to devastate Ukraine, and the challenges for our researchers and institutions are immense. Yet, despite these hardships, we remain determined to strengthen our research and innovation system. At the NRFU, we are committed to building a funding organization that operates aiming at the highest level of professionalism, transparency, and alignment with international best practices. So, well, that's why we're having this webinar today. And well, this webinar is really part of the effort. And we have, together with Science Europe, we have identified 3 priority areas for the capacity building. And today we are going to talk about balancing bottom-up and top-down research funding. The topic is both timely and highly relevant. So research funding organizations everywhere, all across Europe, face the challenge of finding the right balance between supporting curiosity-driven bottom-up research and addressing urgent societal needs through top-down programs. For Ukraine, this is not an abstract question, but a very real one. And we seek to ensure that science contributes both to resilience now and to the recovery of the country in the future. I'm also very pleased that the webinar is being virtually attended by members of the Ukrainian research community, so many of you. So well, these people are eager to follow these discussions and to learn from the experience of our European partners. We do not expect today's discussion to be an easy one. Balancing between different approaches to research funding is complex everywhere, but it is precisely this exchange of perspectives that will help us move forward with clarity and confidence. Finally, I would like to warmly thank our distinguished for their willingness to share their expertise, immense expertise and support in this important conversation. So your readiness to help, to share experiences, and to stand with Ukraine is deeply valued. With that, let me once again thank Science Europe and especially Lydia for making this exchange possible. Thank you all for your interest and commitment. And I wish all of us a fruitful and inspiring discussion today. Thank you. And now, well, so the word, the floor goes to Laura, who has taken this very important role of the moderator of today's discussion. So thank you, Laura. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much, Olga. Can you hear me good? Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Laure Noir. I am the head of international cooperation of the Swiss National Science Foundation, the main body for research funding in Switzerland. And it's my pleasure and my honor to moderate this panel today, because the topic is crucial for all of us, and the relationship between the SNSF and the NRFU is a very special one. I would like at this place to thank very warmly Olga and Lydia and their team for the great preparation. Thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to this panel. Maybe a few words of introduction before introducing the panelists. Currently, we are experiencing challenging times in terms of geopolitics. This has a huge impact for research and research processes, especially from the perspective of research funders. The question of how research funders should position in developing their instrument portfolio is therefore crucial. In Switzerland, my home country, which has been top ranked over decades in research, development, and innovation, we truly believe that innovation stems from a long-term investment in basic research. In our understanding, innovation is based on, first, a good ecosystem for research development, including infrastructure, a huge investment in basic research, a solid international networks, and last but not least, simple processes and lean administration. However, to solve global issues, we also need a more top-down, innovation-driven approach in shaping our research funding portfolio. How to find the right balance in delineating top-down and bottom-up instruments to cope with the global challenges we are facing today? That is the central question I am delighted to discuss with a very high-level panel I would like to briefly introduce. Chiara Decci-Bardecci, who is the head of UNESCO Antenna in Ukraine, Anu Norma, who is the Director General, Estonian Research Council and Governing Board Member of Science Europe, Anna Di Ciaccio, Director of the National Institute for Nuclear Physics and Governing Board Member of Science Europe, Marika Edoff, Secretary General for Engineered Sciences, former member of the board, Swedish Research Council, and last but not least, Nicoletta Dumitraki, Head of Department Executive Agency for Higher Education, Research, Development and Innovation Funding. You are all very welcome. Then I will give the floor to Anu Norma for her presentation. Anu, the floor is yours.
Hello from my side. Do you see my slides now?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I really would like to thank also Science Europe and Lydia, but of course Olga. Hello, Olga. Nice to see you again. Because it is a really big honor to discuss and share with you the Estonian journey. I thought it will be the best if I really talk how we in Estonia are now thinking when we need to decide what kind of poll or proposal system we create. And therefore I put together a few slides, but of course I am really willing to contribute in this seminars, but also in the collaboration and all these activities much more. And therefore it is maybe good start also having understanding how different countries have reached to this situation where we are. But of course, first of all, I guess that it is very important to take account the long time heritage, how in each country, how is the structure of our research and system, so that any transfer to new system or new activities can't destroy the very fragile basic research what is really happening in the humans' brains. So the second important issue is take such kind of ecosystem approach, what I also see right now Ukraine is really taking, and understand what is going on in other countries around, to find the right partners to work together. What are the organizations with whom you would like to collaborate, share the experiences and also the lessons learned, but also take into account what is happening on the political level. And such kind of political goals what have been formulated as a strategic view, it is very important because the research, especially basic research, is very long time journey. We can't do things very rapidly if we haven't established proper supply of resources, both on the money, but also the humans, people collaborating networks. And I put it as last, but actually, of course, it is not less important. It is really that all the processes are value-based, so that we need to make sure that academic freedom, autonomy of institutions, and high-level research culture is the main like value that we keep in mind during all the processes. Here is just a little memory about how Estonia started in 1990 to really build modern research excellence. And today in 2025, we are still building the system, so that the process is really long, and there are many steps and also many mistakes, but also many successful initiatives that need to be taken into account. And for example, for us, one very important like the evaluation process was what was happening in the 1992 was when we really had to decide that what is our research structure and turn it to the competitive-based, internationally acknowledged research system. And many evaluation has been happening since that, and we just finalized the last one in this year, and also we have created a new law for the research, innovation and entrepreneurship, what is going in force actually on 1st of October, so that there is many changes in the system. But the Estonia Research Council, I am leading it, was actually established in 2012. The second very important issue was the societal agreement that Estonia will put 1% of public funding to the research. And since 2018, our government, several governments, they all have kept this. And it is difficult, I have to say now, during these very big changes due to the security issues and military efforts. But anyway, we try to keep it. But the basic elements from the start has been the quality of research, internationally acknowledged evaluation and peer review, all these institutional and legislative reforms, and in time adjustment of different policies. Currently, we have the new policy up to 2035, and it links research system and business environment, and we have dedicated programs for the knowledge transfer, and I guess it is actually the key to have both research bottom up, but also top-down governmentally or user direct driven research in the same system, in the same strategy, what is also covered with similar funding schemes. And I would like to share with you the 10 years process. You can see here the basic research, what is the bottom violet color, then experimental development, funding proportions, and applied research. And it is for Estonia for 10 years. And you can see actually that during 10 years, basic research funding, what was in 2014, 30% from our research funding is now 20%. So it is gradually decreased. And on the same time, the experimental development and applied research funding has increased. And it is very much depending actually from the policies. And we have gradually increased the funding also by the government to support industry and entrepreneurship, to start with knowledge-based and research demanding research activities. And when we
1 minute left.
Yeah, last slide. And if I compare Estonian situation in 2022, because just not late data available for different countries, but Estonia is here. We have 20% of basic funding, and we are close to like Slovenia or Portugal or whatever. And we see that in many countries, like in Japan, the basic funding has been like almost twice the percentage. But I would like to say also that it also depends how it is counted, how your system, what collects data, is defining it. And here, I guess, very many countries have different methodologies, so that basically the main message is that everyone have to develop own way in this and really build up on own country's strength, and just learn from others how it can be done or not to do like this. But yeah, it was my last slide. But I guess that we are all together on the same journey, and together we can achieve more. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anu, for your insightful presentation and for keeping the time. Anna, the floor is yours, and you have 5 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. I would like, first of all, to thank everybody for the invitation, at which I am very happy to contribute. So I don't want to waste much of my time, so I try to share my slide. So So I will go quickly. I will present which is the approach of INFN, of my institute, balancing top-down and bottom-up research funding. So if you go to the second slide, can you go to the second slide? Oh, these are my slides, or yeah, thanks very a lot. You are dealing with my slide. So first of all, let's present my institute. INFN is an Italian public research institute dedicated to basic research, namely to the study of fundamental constituent of matter and the fundamental law that are governing them. So as almost 75 years old, so it's an old institute with a lot of experience. And INFN is one of the Italian Institute of Research that is operating under the supervision of the Italian Ministry of University and Research. So our, let's say, activity is in the field of fundamental physics. Is recognized as one of the world leading research organization in nuclear particle theoretical and astroparticle physics. Also, we do a lot of technological innovation, and we have a vocation for international collaboration. We are deeply involved in national and international collaboration. And we have, as I could try quickly to present to you, a balanced approach to research funding, combining top-down and bottom-up mechanism. So going to the next slide. So we have, quickly I go through that, and the main headquarters is in Rome, and we are organized in 4 national laboratories. 2 are in central Italy, 1 in the north, 1 in the south. Of course, they do a different kind of physics, and we have 20 INFN sections based on major Italian university. So one is a very specific feature of INFN to collaborate with many institutes of research, but mainly with professor and researcher in the Italian university. We have in INFN 5 main national scientific committee covering different research fields and strategic planning. In total, INFN has 2,000 employees, physicists, engineers, technologists. Of course, there is also an administration department, and we are collaborating with more than 4,000 researchers, as I said, from university and other institutions. So the majority are external researchers that are collaborating with the INFN researcher. And again, I say that we are coordinating fundamental basic research in basic research in fundamental physics, and we do also a lot of high-level training in physics, technology, and data science. Just to see which is the ballpark of our funding that we receive from the ministry is about 355 million for this year, but we get every year specific extra funds from the government. It depends from which strategic project are discussed with the government. Also, we receive money from European programs, regional funds, and in this last year, after the pandemic, also specific funds for the Italian National Recovery and Resilient Plan. Going to the next slide. We, as I said, one of our major vocation is international collaboration. So our researchers are present in the major laboratory all over the world. At CERN, we are involved in all the LHC collaboration, in Fermilab in USA, in DAISY in Germany, in Keck in Japan, Juno, BEST2 in China. We have a lot of participation in astroparticle big project. I mentioned just a few of them. Kilometer 3 net, Virgo, Cherenkov telescope array, that is an international laboratory for astroparticle physics, and the future Einstein telescope to continue to study gravitational waves. We have also very strong national infrastructure, cutting-edge particle accelerator for medical and cultural heritage application, underground laboratory, Gran Sasso, where we had the honor to have many researchers from Ukraine with us and to work together. Also, we have an advanced computing data center. The main one is called INFN CNAF. And recently there was the kickoff meeting for one of the European first AI factory that is financed by EU.
2 minutes left.
Okay, so I mean, we design top-down calls to address priority at the national and international level. They are aligned with the National Research Strategy International Roadmap, CERN, ESFRI, or major scientific infrastructure. So this call defines specific objectives, are governed through structure evaluation procedure, combining scientific peer review and strategic oversight by INFN central body, mainly INFN president and executive committee. Regarding bottom-up calls, the bottom-up calls are designed to stimulate scientific creativity, innovation from individual and small team. They are open in scope, support high-risk, high-reward ideas, and they rely primarily on rigorous peer review to assess the novelty and the scientific excellence of the project. And often INFN use this call to support the development of young researchers. And we have 5 national scientific committees, one for each INFN main research topic, that accept the proposal from researcher, and the proposals are rigorously peer review, and if the outcome of the referee is positive, they are endorsed for the financing. I stop with this last slide. So in every call, it's very important to respect this principle for INFN: open access, research integrity, data excellence, data sharing, equality and diversity, to make sure that our research is based on a scientific and ethical principle. Okay, so I stop here.
Thank you very much, Anna. And it is so important to emphasize the importance of the values in shaping and initiating calls. Thank you very much. Time's sake, I would suggest to continue with the presentation of Marika, and then we can go back to Chiara when she is jumping in the meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. Fine, then let's go back. So we can have the next slide. We can have the next slide. And we play a leading role in developing Swedish research of the highest scientific quality and for societal development. So that's the idea, that by trusting the researchers, actually what they will do is to do research which is also relevant for the societal development. So the next slide, please. So research and curiosity, I call it curiosity because curiosity-driven research is very important. It gives us a broad knowledge base and new ways of handling challenges. And of course, it leads also to unexpected research breakthroughs. And one of the examples that we often bring up is the vaccine for COVID, against COVID, which actually came up from fundamental research. I think we can, yeah, and as I said, bottom up is the normal. So it's the researchers themselves that formulate their research questions. One example is the Nobel Prize winner, Anne-Louise Lier, who got the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2023, and she had a lot of funding from the Swedish Research Council during her career. So next slide, please. So how do we do this? Then essential preconditions for research of the highest quality is a long-term approach to funding of research. And it's not long-term per se for one scientist, but it's that we keep the same type of funding strategies for a very long time. We also encourage a high degree of internationalization. So we are part of several, especially infrastructures. We give these access to advanced research infrastructures both in Sweden and abroad. So we actually pay by convention for researchers to be part of infrastructures abroad. We try to promote attractive research environments by also funding environment grants. We think that we encourage good research culture by our way of working. We always try to make sure that gender equality in the entire research system is kept by also educating all our panels every year before they start evaluating the proposals. And we encourage also society's trust in research and encourage interaction between research and the surrounding society. So next slide, please. So this is the distribution of grant types, just to give an example of what we do for 1 year. This is from 2023, but it looks approximately the same in 2025. So research, curiosity-driven researcher projects are the dark blue, and it's a very large part and something that we defend a lot. We also fund a lot of research infrastructure, and these are infrastructure of national or international interest. I talked about research environment and research collaboration, which is also one important part. Career support, so dedicated grants for postdocs and for young scientists, and some other smaller grants. And next slide, please.
You have 2 minutes left.
Yes, and that will be perfect. So handling top-down initiatives. So what we try to defend now, because we recently got several top-down initiatives, are to keep the freedom of the how. So even for the strategic initiatives which point to certain areas of research, we try to let the researcher be the judge for the best way of conducting the research within that topic, to give the researcher as much freedom as possible within the borders. And also to keep the administrative burdens at the minimum. Never ask for good to haves in the reporting. And maybe a conference for sharing experience is much more effective and efficient to present to your peers than writing a boring report that no one will read. So that's some examples of what we try to encourage. Peer review, of course, is we always have also for the top-down initiatives, and we also have the highest research quality as our main way of working. So next slide, please. So these are some examples to finish up. These are some examples of recent top-down initiatives within my area, which is engineering sciences. So one which actually we presented results yesterday for a first networking grant in excellence clusters for groundbreaking technologies. And this is an example of a top-down initiatives, although it's also bottom-up because it's up to the researcher to suggest what technologies will be groundbreaking in the future. Some strategic research initiatives that have some topics on them, like polar research and quantum research and these kind of things. We have research centers for nuclear basic research, really much to create environments. Research school in mining and minerals, the same thing there. It's a top-down initiative that we try to handle in the best way as possible. And strategic mapping of research infrastructure. And for infrastructure, we think it's even more important to make a map of the available research infrastructures so that we can cover the needs of the researchers. So it's a mix of a bottom-up and a top-down initiative. I think my time is up, so I think I stop here, and then I'm curious for your questions later on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marika. Thank you, very much appreciated. And I think we can now go back to Chiara. Chiara, are you in the room?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you very much.
Very good.
First,
And
very quickly to see if I can share myself.
it works. Go
Voila.
ahead.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, I think this is very good. I'm not sure. I think is not under my control. Correct? Is from your room. So very quickly, maybe I just would like to mention, considering the time, and for the purpose of this important first webinar, I will present quickly the action plan of UNESCO to build a robust science ecosystem in Ukraine, but also some already started activities after this presentation in July. Next, please. I don't know if this is controlling. Is it me or is
Next slide, please.
yeah. Okay, good. So this action plan, as I mentioned before, is based on longer consultations. Consultations were started were conducted in the country starting for the autumn 24, but at the origin is based on two assessment report supported by UNESCO. One on damage to infrastructures in Ukraine due to the ongoing war, and the second on the situation of scientists. You have here in the screen some of the figures, but as you can see, evidently there are conditions in terms of infrastructure. 1/3 of scientific and research infrastructure has been so far already damaged. And indeed, there is also a capacity of these institutions to conduct the research. Next, please. As well as a situation of scientists, just to mention the need to feed the country and need for many. Around, as you seen, 22,000 have already left. Difficult of continuing, but also in terms of little capacity to continue conducting research in the current situation, not only related to availability of infrastructure and facilities, but also of issues of traumas and indeed livelihood that it's quite reduced. Next, please. So based on some of the on the identified critical need. Next, please. And we maybe move. We have.
Next slide.
That doesn't. Yes. Next, please, as well, and the issues that have been identified. Maybe next, please. I think it's you, well, to Lord, okay. We have actually worked together with Ukrainian stakeholders, and as I mentioned, starting from Ministry of Education and Science, but also a wide array of partners in universities, in NGOs, in scientists directly to surveys, foundations, and the Academy of Science, and etc., that I mentioned. We have actually put together a plan looking at three areas, actually in terms of emergency relief and structural reform. Please, next one. That is articulated, next please, which is articulated over after the next please, is articulated over short, medium, and long term perspective, and building actually on this twofold approach to tackle emergency response, but also sustainable recovery. Activities are articulated around the three axes: stabilization and preservation of Ukraine's scientific capacity, coordination of global efforts and ensuring resilience in Ukraine's science ecosystem, and sustainable recovery of Ukraine's science ecosystem towards reconstruction efforts. Next, please. In these activities has a clear deliverables, as you can see from these slides, but in targeting a certain number of scientists in terms of support of mental health and psychosocial support, grants, access to laboratories, and in particular here, this is something that I will come back in what we are currently doing, as this active initiative of UNESRAIL, remote access to laboratories, creating also opportunity in the more long-term for cooperations among the different layers, top, medium, and I would say, and vice versa, and top management and also infrastructure as different, I would say, country and international level approach. But at the same time, data constitute definitely still an important part to keep update in terms of understanding on needs and also to cost them for the future. And indeed, long-term issues related to structural aspects, including legal framework, regulatory framework, and aspects linked, for instance, to mobility of scientists, as an example. Next, please. This plan has been, next, please. This plan has been costed in between short term and mid-long term. For short term, they include in 25-27, calculate a minimum of 28 million, divided, as you can see, by type of activities. Next, please. And in with a next slide, please. With also a more long term, you have activities that you can read detailed in in this plan, but definitely there are issues of creating platforms in the country for communication and flow of information, and also in terms of decision making influence in a way on needs, on how to readdress important funding to critical activity to relaunch and to support the ecosystem in Ukraine. Next, please. I can share the presentation with the participants. Next, please. What I would like to take now the time is to mention is 2 points following up on this action plan. Next slide, please. The first is that this plan has been integrated within the International Coalition for Research and Innovation that have been launched in the Ukrainian Recovery Conference in Rome this summer in July 2025. And at the same time, as UNESCO, we have started a survey to map the needs, more specifically in terms of possibility for Ukrainian scientists to access remotely to laboratories abroad, and in particular in Europe. And this survey has allowed us to identify certain number of domains, in particular, which were considered by Ukrainian scientists, next please, as critical. And currently, based on this survey, of course, the survey is not the only one, but the further survey will be launched progressively. We have identified actually computing as one of the high performance computing and access to it as one of the areas which requested more attention from Ukrainian scientists. Based on that, actually we have been able to match this with the Verlag Institute and to open a UNESCO Verlag Institute call for Ukrainian scientists in the computing for research and innovation in life science. This is still open. Deadline is the 15th of October. So I think it's important also to give the possibility to widespread this opportunity today. Next, please, which is also...
We have 2 minutes left.
Yes, next, please. Next slides. And at the same time, based on this type of surveys, we have launched an additional call with the University of Paris, Paris-Cité. And this call is for remote experimental training on extracellular vessel production, purification, and characterization. This call is open till the end of October, the 31st, and these are mid, I would say, long-term, 1 year, actually, cooperation opportunities with specific institutes. To go back to this is what is currently we have already initiated, but definitely it's important in this type of forum also to highlight these issues of possibilities of creating platforms and in particular of effective projects and cooperation, and in particular for international, abroad institutions to eventually adhere to this program that UNESCO is currently putting together to match international abroad institutions with the needs of Ukrainians in terms of the access, remote access to laboratories and to preparations. And we really look forward for also your, any questions that you would have on the action plan later, and also to enhance this further this type of intervention for the and emergency, I would say, response at this stage, and for allowing Ukrainian scientists to continue and to enhance their research capacity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chiara, and also for the timekeeping. Thank you so much. Last but not least, I will beg Nicola to take the floor for her presentation.
Yes, thank you very much. I hope you see my presentation now.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. I'm happy that you do. First of all, thank you very much for the invitation and for the chance of sharing our experience, because it's very important that we all learn from the best practices. I represent, as you know, the Romanian funding agency, in short, which is not short, it's UEFISCHDI. And we are a visionary agency that promotes quality and leadership in research, development, and innovation, but also in higher education, because we set up a framework for higher education, but we also fund excellent projects. And we are located under the Ministry of Education and Research. We provide awards for excellence in research at individual and institutional level, supporting explanatory applied research and innovation in all branches of science and humanities. Also, we fund ageless researchers and calls targeting different TRLs. But words are not enough if they are not accompanied by figures. Over the last 9 years, we launched, evaluated, contracted, and monitored 81 national calls, for which we declare eligible more than 22,000 project proposals. We funded more than 7,000 projects, and you see there our budget. What about our instrument? As you can see, we open calls in all branches of research, basic, applied research, but also dedicated to human resources and European and international cooperation, which is very important to us, so that we give our researchers the opportunity to cooperate with foreign fellows. The instrument that's in red there, solutions, the instrument that it's a top-down instrument, and that I will refer to in my next slides. This has established itself as a primary funding instrument through which scientific research addresses problems identified by public administration solutions. To say so in 3 big steps, it's that a public institution identifies a specific need or challenge that is requiring research solution. Of course, a call text is drawn upon, and then consortium is selected and invited to submit a proposal, and the best proposal for that call is, after, of course, a peer review evaluation process, it is awarded and funded. 1 second. Okay, so how did we go with the top down calls? We had 4 rounds of calls with 63 themes. A theme is actually a project. So for each project, a call is designed so that we reach to fund the best project for that call. Who gave us the themes for these calls? We had several important national institutions, which is from among them Ministry of Internal Affairs, National Defense Ministry, Romanian Intelligence Service, Protection and Guard Service, Romanian Space Agency, Special Telecommunication Services. And these 46 themes that came from them were focusing mainly on national security and technology. We also use this instrument during the COVID, just like when the pandemic started, because it's an instrument that in 60 working days, you can already contract a project if you use it. So it's a very a short time, I don't know, administrative before signing the contract, and actually the research is starting. So we use it also during pandemics. We had 17 themes there. Of course, they were identified by the Ministry of Health, and they helped us find solution in prevention, diagnosis, treatment, and urgent equipment. If we want to look at all the rounds of this, we had 890 in the expressions of interest, and in the end, 296 project proposals submitted. And you see there also the money. It's important that since they were also open to the companies, we also managed to attract money coming from the private sector.
2 minutes left.
Yes, it's perfect. These are just some examples if we wondered what we funded. So we managed in the end to have for the first time in the country a world-class turbine-powered naval propulsion system. But also within other project, we managed to have a field for firing exercises with specific armament intervention troops, as well as testing and simulation of explosion scenarios. And during pandemic, right after it started, we managed to have a protocol for screening and infection and prediction, as long as with a virtual platform that allows to see how that pandemic was doing in Romania. I also tried to do some lesson learning and to compare these very important strategic approaches to research. And as my other speakers before told us, that bottom-up is used for more creative, more personal involvement and motivation that may uncover unexpected problems and solutions. Here you get the diverse range of proposals where interdisciplinarity or cross-sector breakthroughs may happen. Of course, if they are open, they can attract a very high number of submissions, but they give greater autonomy and flexibility to researchers. When we look at top-down, of course, when we define a theme, we have to be specific enough for the guide to guide the applicants, but broad enough to allow for innovation to happen. Just as Marika told, we want to keep it top down, but also bottom up so that researcher feels free in a way. It's important that we have the right budget to cover the expenses for that specific need. It's important that when we launch it, it reaches out to the right researchers. It sometimes may be challenging because, as I told you, one theme, one project is actually a call. So it needs his call text, it needs his person, it needs his own time frame, budget, different experts. So it's quite challenging when you launch more in the same time. In our case, we had a very good communication with the public administration beneficiary, so that we had a lot of answers from the scientific point of view, but also they provided experts that we used them in the proposal evaluation steps, but also they were very much involved in the follow-up of the projects and in the uptake of the results. And this concentrated whole time frame that I told you about, it's very challenging in time in terms of shorter time dedicated to proposal design, but also to identification of the right partners in order for that specific team to be developed. These were my main things, so I think I'm right on time. Thank you for all.
Thank you very much, Nicoletta, for the very clear presentation and keeping the time. Now we have about 20 minutes for discussion, and I suggest first that I will ask the panelists some questions and then open the discussion to the audience. Let me start with questions for Anu, Anna, Marika, and Nicoletta. What are the elements or policies to consider when designing top-down and bottom-up calls for research proposal? And if you can give some concrete examples, I think it would be very useful for the audience. Who would like to start?
Okay, I may start if it is okay, just giving one very concrete example. And starting from this strategic view, as I said, in Estonia, we have long time strategy for research and innovation. And there we have chosen on the board very large consultancies, so in different stakeholders, 5 focus topics. And one of these 5 is actually Estonian language and culture. And Estonian language and culture is something very, very unique. There may be 1.5, maybe a maximum 2 million people in the world who can really speak. But it is in our basic law that the Estonian country is really responsible to keeping alive. So this was politically designed specific focus for our strategy, and Ministry of Education and Research, but also Ministry of Cultural Affairs have created a dedicated program. And Estonia Research Council is responsible to open calls under these programs and evaluate and monitor the progress of the project. So that basically it is top down by the different ministries. It accords to the long-time strategies, but the project evaluation, taking account like research, high-level research, internationally competitive research, different key factors, like according to the this is our duty, and now we are running this program already 3 years, and it covers really very, very specific needs of our government, and it is difficult to perform through the Horizon program or through other international collaboration, but actually we can collaborate with many countries who also have such kind of very specific cultural language issue, and it is in every country you have something very unique, and it is really therefore also part of our international activities. So that yeah, just one example. I can give word to anybody else.
Thank you, Anu. As respecting the context of the national context, basically, and also the role and the responsibilities of the different stakeholders, meaning the research founders have some specific tasks and responsibilities for designing the calls, and the ministries or the administration in a broader sense have another one, and there should be some clarity in defining the role and the responsibilities. Thank you. Anybody else who would like to comment?
So I would like also to mention a couple of top-down major projects of our institution. We are a performing institution. We do basic research in the fields of physics. So we have in basic fundamental physics, we are not a financing agency. This is different with the other one. I want to make this more precise. And we have at the moment a couple of top-down projects, very important, that are followed directly by the president and by the executive committee of INFN. For instance, we are participating to the CERN strategy for particle physics. And we are also taking a very active part in the organization of a new project that I mentioned before, is the Einstein project for an underground equipment to study gravitational waves, and the international community interested to this physics is involved. So what I want to stress is this vocation to collaborate with the international partner. Of course, we have also national partnership, but we have a strong vocation to international collaboration. And every year we have a meeting of our organization. And if there are new ideas, hot topic that are coming in, we ask people to present them. We ask for a discussion. And then these topics are further developed inside the national committee that I mentioned before. So although we have, important top-down project, we are very open, since we do basic research. Most of our research is basic research, blue sky research. We have a very open approach to research, and we have frequent involvement of our community to the discussion. So this I consider very important for our community, continuous interaction among us to see which are the most important topics to address.
Thank you. The power of co-construction in the process of shaping a call, if I understood it correctly. Thank you, Anna. I think Marika would like to say something.
I can say something as well. So I think it depends a little bit on what type of top-down funding. If it's capacity building that we are doing in some areas, for example, is nuclear basic research, is capacity building. It's building environments, and then I think what's important and what's the policy is that it's fully funded. In other cases, we give a contribution to research. If it's bottom up, it's more we contribute to research, which is excellent. But if we want capacity building, it's more important that the research projects are fully funded to keep the freedom of the university to do other things as well. So I think that's important. If it's a very small research area where we are trying to do capacity building, the international peer review is also very much important, so that not researchers just give funding to each other, and that we really promote excellence. So that's the policy, to have an international committee judging the project proposals. And also, of course, stakeholder discussions is important as well. In the nuclear research, we have been discussing with the Energy Agency, the Radiation Authority, and so on, so that they are online with the call as well. So these are a few thoughts. Yeah.
The respect of international quality standards and the discussion with other stakeholders as benchmark also in a way. Thank you. Nicoletta, would you like to add something?
I agree with all my colleagues. As you have seen in my presentation, from our side, the top-down came from the strategic and political level, to say so. They were their needs to have these projects implemented. They needed these solutions coming from research so that they can develop things within their areas. It's important that we had these security-driven research, but also these solutions regarding coming from the Ministry of Health. But our it's important for us as a funding agency that we also have this collaboration and this needs developed from other ministries, so that all researchers can apply to this scheme too. Thank you.
Thank you. That's very, very important as well. As a thank you for sharing your thoughts. Now I have a question for Chiara regarding the UNESCO Action Plan. How can Science Europe member organizations contribute to the UNESCO's action plan, in your view?
Thank you, Laura, for this important question, really. Definitely, Science Europe can contribute to be part of the alliance, first, the international alliance, and this it's very important because it's also a fora for coordination at different level, and where the action plan of UNESCO is integrated in. Then definitely, as I mentioned and as shown in the slides, there are several areas that have been currently identified as priority in terms of support of scientists in particular, who starting from the remote access to laboratories, a cooperation platform. And definitely, while conducting these surveys in the country with Ukrainian institutions and research facilities, it's important also always for UNESCO in coordinating this initiative to find matching institutions abroad that could offer that expertise. So I think that there is an in-kind, I would say, contribution that's possible. Of course, is not, there is for other type of partners, and I mean, sometimes there is also financial support that's possible, in particular in pulling together grants and to complement the very important work that is done by, for instance, by Horizon Europe or others institutions, and definitely also to continue keep update, I would say, this the current situation in terms of data portal and the support also for policies. But definitely the bottom-up process is key, and this case starting from the from the Ukrainian scientific communities at wider, but also I think that the role from Science Europe could also contribute. We're working with the plan and with this coalition also to to further expand, I would say, also this network and opportunities for the Ukrainian scientists today. And best practices, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chiara. Now I think it's time to open the floor for questions of the audience. Are there any questions to the panelists from the audience? And I would like to ask Tatiana maybe to gather the questions if there are any and to send it to me via chat.
There are no questions in the chat.
Okay, then I would say we are perfectly on time for the closing. And I will hand over to Olga, but beforehand, I would like to thank very much the panelists. Thank you very much for the discussion and your great presentation, and also for your flexibility. Thank you, Tatiana, the translation team, and Gregory for making it happen. And now I'm handing over to Olga for the closing remark.
Yeah, Laura, thank you so much. Since we don't have questions, it's, well, either might be explained by the fact that everything is 100% clear, or maybe just, well, the topic of the discussion still requires some reflections and contemplation. Yeah, so, well, dear colleagues, dear friends, well, thank you so much to all of you for participating, and of course to all our speakers for sharing your experience and your ideas and providing us with some very concrete examples. Of course, that's amazing that so many people have joined us today. Thank you for your time. Well, to me personally, that has been a very meaningful discussion. And though the topic is not a simple one, I think it will leave us with new perspectives and useful reflections, and we will have a lot of internal discussions here. So I would like to give special thanks to you, Laura, for moderating today's session. Well, with this skill and energy, so your guidance really helped us keep the discussion focused and engaging. We're really on time. So very orderly, and many thanks also go to all the participants for your joining us today. And this is really a great added value to our exchange, that we have involved Ukrainian research community, that's Ukrainian researchers, research administrators and managers, and of course our colleagues from the Ministry of Education and Science of Ukraine. What also gives our webinar today true added value is the fact that we're here together, colleagues from across Europe, and we in Ukraine, sharing these experiences, challenges actually, and trying to look for solutions. And the reflections we have heard today on how to strike the right balance between the bottom-up and top-down programs, both for research projects and for individual researchers, will be especially valuable for us as we continue to shape our own practices at the NRFU. And of course, we're trying to align them with international standards. So, well, today was just the start of our NRFU Science Europe webinar series, and I'd like to remind all of you that we will meet again on the 25th of November to talk about monitoring tools for R&D projects, and then at the beginning of 2026, on the 20th of February, for a session on open science policies and practices. So these are all areas that are very important for the NRFU, but also, well, highly relevant for research funders everywhere. And, I hope that you will continue to be part of these exchanges. And of course, I'm, again, expressing my true gratitude to Science Europe, to Lydia and the team for organizing this series of webinars with us, and to all of you for your engagement and support. We in Ukraine feel this solidarity strongly, and it really helps us move forward, both professionally and personally. So with this, let me thank you once again, and wish you all a very good day because, well, we are through with the webinar in the first part of the day. So, well, I look forward to seeing you again at the next webinars. And of course, we are already beginning to get prepared for the second webinar in this series. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good luck, Olga.
Thank you.
Good luck.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
Bye bye.